Wait a second. Did you just take...
No.
Is that a bottle of Prime with
No,
gaff
dude.
tape over it? No way. This man is the biggest hater of Logan Paul of all time.
I had to know.
You're drinking
I
Prime?
had to know.
No way.
Disturbing the peace with some peace of mind. Sleeping in jeans, I'ma need a night. OD on the cheap advice. OC on the cheapest flight. Lately I've been on the move trying to get to something. But I told her I've been running just to see the sights.
Welcome back to Friends with Benedicts. Back to my basement edition.
Yeah, we're back in the basement. Generally, when we're back in the basement, there's a common thread that binds us here.
Yeah, this is becoming a common trend. I think this is the third or fourth episode now where Shaffer's van breaks down and the shop that works on his van is in Denver. So here we are. At least your van breaking down brings us together every time.
I know, that's true. I wish we could be together under different circumstances, but it's not the case. I never come here when things are going good. I like when things are falling apart.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, we're kind of under a time crunch for today's episode, and we just got done with a skate session. Mm-hmm. We're both a little scatterbrained, but we're going for it anyway.
Yeah, let me see if I can contextualize this really fast, because I told Jake I didn't want this to all be about my car problems because they all blend together and there's going to be more, so it doesn't even matter. But basically, I got a lift. The lift messed up my brakes, got my brakes fixed. Getting my brakes fixed messed up either my CV axle or my U-joints. Don't know which yet. All of those parts are impossible to find because it's a Japanese van. So anytime I want to, if I just wanted to try to see if it was a CV axle, it takes 14 days for shipping. So I literally came down to Denver to pick my car up. I thought I was going to be here one night. I only packed for one night, and I've been here for 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
Because I'm always just on the edge of hearing that it's fixed. They're like, oh, we think it's this thing. We just got to do this. And then it never is that. And it even got to the point where they're like, we're pretty busy now. You should just do this yourself. And so I was working on my car in Jake's driveway literally today.
Yeah, basically the reason you ended up here. Hey, I need a driveway to work on my van.
Yeah, so anyway, where was I going with all that? Now, it turns out the thing I worked on in your driveway didn't fix my problems, which means I can't drive back to Gunnison, but I need to get back to Gunnison. But luckily, one of my friends is out in Denver this week, and they're about to come pick me up so that we can go back there. So I don't know when he's coming, but there's a chance that this episode will get cut short because I have to roll out.
It could be, which is crazy too, because a lot has happened since we've last recorded. You won't know from the uploads, but it's been 3 weeks, I think, since we've recorded.
Yeah.
I've been to Hawaii and back. You've been working on a massive client project, plus having all of the car problems of being stranded. So I feel like a lot has happened. We have a lot to catch up on, but at the same time, I have no idea what to talk about. It's so much time has passed.
I know, and it's such a blur. I don't know. It's super weird because, yeah, have been getting so unlucky this year over and over and over and over again. With car stuff, with work stuff, with personal relationship stuff, with family stuff. Everything right now has just been not bad. I'm fine. It's just one of those things where it's just when is this gonna end? Yeah,
you've had a consistent streak.
Yeah, and I even remember 2 weeks ago I made a video, a members video on my channel, and I was like, well, after this, things are really looking up, and it's been 2 weeks, and it's just back to back to back. Things have not looked up.
Man.
I know.
You've been saying that since October.
I know. Well, someone was like, oh, well, things can only go up from here, and I was like, I've been saying that for months.
Yeah. Oh God, seriously, it never ends.
But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about
the chicken explosion.
What we usually talk about.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't even know.
I'm here to hear about a chicken explosion because we're just skating and eating burritos, And you mentioned something about a chicken explosion and then said you can't tell me till we're on the podcast. And I'm dying to know what this means.
Well, really, everything that has gone wrong really has the origin of all of it was the chicken explosion.
Oh, no. Where it all began.
Yeah. So the chicken explosion was, I was just making a salad, dude. That's all I was trying to do. And there was something going on where I just I needed to it was right before the big client thing. So it was like the meal I was eating before I was going up to Crested Butte to go shoot this thing, right? So it's I need a good hearty meal to give me some energy before doing all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get one of those Caesar salad kits and then one of those canned chicken breasts for the protein.
Okay.
And I walk over to the Safeway because I live really close to the Safeway, and then I walk back and I'm just throwing it all in a bowl or whatever. I dump the salad into the bowl, and then
it's just like a can of tuna, but it's chicken.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've had them a million times before.
Okay.
Never have had a problem. Oh, and I opened the can, and first off, it was like a pressure bomb. I don't know what the deal was, but it exploded.
Whoa.
It was one of those ones that has the tab so you can open it yourself, and I popped it and the whole lid popped off.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was crazy, which I've never had happen.
Yeah.
So there was that, and just it and I'm holding it right in front of me, so it explodes all over my face.
God.
Just all over my shirt and over my face and everything. And I was just Gunnison's at high elevation. So my first thought is, it's just high elevation. Well, then I'm hit with this wave of stench.
That was my first thought.
Worst smell I have ever smelled. I don't know what the deal was because it was obviously air sealed.
Decomposing in there.
Well, it was obviously air sealed because it exploded.
Yeah.
But
there's probably some fungus in there decomposing it and producing whatever gas a fungus makes.
We'll get this.
So foreshadowing.
So I'm still holding it. So there's still stuff in it. It's not it all exploded out. A lot of it's still in the thing. And at this point, I'm just am I being gaslit? Does chicken smell this bad? Is it I can't remember how bad chicken smells.
Has it always been this way?
But it's real bad. It smells real bad. So I'm going over my salad. I'm this cannot be good. So I'm my hand is hovering between my salad and my sink. And I'm no, I'm not going to put on my salad. So I dump it down the sink. And there's supposed to be big chunks of chicken in there. The only thing that came out was green slime. Dude, Nickelodeon green slime.
Oh my God.
And there's nothing solid. It all just goes down my drain. Well, then my whole apartment it is the worst smell I've ever smelled. It was untoppable. And my whole apartment's just smelling terrible. And I smell terrible too. And now I'm thinking oh my gosh,
this
I have
just
chemical.
Before your shoot.
Yes. This is minutes before I was supposed to leave.
Oh no.
And I'm oh my gosh, I have chemical poison all over my face.
Yeah.
So I jump in the shower and I'm scrubbing everything. I throw all my clothes in the laundry. And then I get a change of clothes, and and my car still is broken at this point too. And so I have to take the bus. And so now I'm grabbing all my stuff. I'm oh my God, I'm going to miss the bus. And so I'm sprinting out to the bus, and I make it just barely. I get on right as they're about to roll away. And I'm that was crazy. And the only thing I can smell is that chicken. It's
you just see
everywhere.
Slowly covering their faces.
Literally. It was like something from a Peanuts Gallery cartoon or something. I had stink lines.
Yeah.
Hovering over my head.
Around.
Yeah, dude.
Oh.
And this shoot was 4 days long. And the whole time I smell horrible. And also I have no idea what my apartment smells like and what I'm going to come back to.
Whoa.
Because I could run the sink a little bit, but in my mind, I'm just that chicken's just sitting at the bottom of that pipe.
Wait, why did you smell bad for 4 days?
Because of
You couldn't get rid of
poison
it?
chicken. I couldn't get rid of it.
Showering
Nothing.
and everything?
No, nothing I did would get rid of the smell.
Man.
Well, the bright side at the end of the tunnel is that luckily when I did end up getting back, my apartment didn't smell nearly as bad, and I lit some candles and sprayed some Febreze. But yeah, that was the beginning of everything going wrong. Because then, I mean, I won't go into too much detail here, but during the shoot, I had, of those like 4 or 5 days, I don't even remember how much it was, I had 1 hour break. And it was at a ski resort. So I was like, I'm going to take a run on the ski resort. And my one run, I smashed my leg into a tree.
Oh,
and so
yeah.
that sucked. And that made the rest of it hard. And then the last day of it, I got food poisoning. Worse than I've ever gotten food poisoning in my life.
God, life is just giving you a beat down right now. I'm looking at you right now, and you literally have basically a black eye because your car punched you in the face.
Yeah, and then when I was trying to fix my car today, I broke something, and then I slammed my head into the wheel well. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. That might be my guy.
Well, that might be the end of the pod.
Hello? Wait.
You're live on Friends with Benedicts.
Hello?
What up, dude?
How's it going?
Good. I think I'm outside.
Oh, cool. Okay, well, I'll be right out.
All right.
Perfect.
So we'll finish this one remote when I get back.
Yeah, I guess we'll just pick this up later. Well, we were so close to having an in-person episode.
I know.
We almost did it.
I know.
But how was the journey home? Did you make it back all right?
Kind of.
Kind of.
We got 1 mile outside of town. Like a mile. And smoked a deer.
Really?
Yes.
Wait, like a mile away from home?
Yes. Yeah, we were a
Oh,
mile
no.
outside of being all the way back and
Oh
just
my God.
obliterated a deer. And Travis has a big bumper on his car, like a big metal bumper.
Yeah.
Oh man, people aren't gonna like this, but bits and
Yeah.
pieces of the deer went through the metal bumper and like smashed into his radiator, and yeah, it was
Oh, man.
not good.
Jeez. Dude, your luck the last 2 months is ridiculous.
Oh, it gets better.
Oh my God. You got to make amends. I need to stop hanging out with you until you clear this karma you've
I'm
created.
cursed. So I fixed my mountain bike up because I was like, well, I'm going to need to get around somewhere. So I got my mountain bike all tuned up, and I was like, well, at least I have my bike. And then first ride out, I'm like just pedaling to the grocery store, and I just hear psh, and my rear shock just loses all the air.
No.
And I thought it was the valve core, but that's not it. So now I don't know what's up, but yeah, it is not holding air at all. So I
Man.
don't have a bike either.
Dude, yeah. Well, I guess we kind of explained while we were in person, but Shaf's van is still now just sitting in front of my house.
Yeah, no, I rewatched what we recorded and I gave the whole spiel. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks to you, now that I've had this beautiful, albeit broken van in my front yard, I see it every day, and now it's got me going down a rabbit hole to where now I'm considering selling my van. I'm really looking into like VW Vanagons, but with the Subaru conversion. Like
Oh,
people
yeah.
take the Synchro and then just throw a Subaru motor in it.
yeah,
So you've got me down a whole rabbit hole. 'Cause
aren't they
now
cool?
I'm thinking,
Isn't it awesome?
yeah, well, and for some reason, I've just been like, I put so much work into my van. I love it. I'm just going to keep tweaking it and making it better. But now I'm thinking I don't live in it full time anymore, so I don't need one that I can stand up in anymore. I don't
Yeah.
need nearly the amount of stuff I have right now built into my van. So yeah, now that the wheels are spinning.
Dude, well, I mean, I'm biased because that's my dream car, but as someone who also doesn't live in their van, I'll tell you, like the bed has been useful here and there, but the two things that have been the most useful on that car have been the fact that I can sleep in it, I can carry a bunch of people, like a bunch of friends and stuff,
Yeah.
and I have 4-wheel drive. The 4-wheel drive just changes because I had a van really similar to it beforehand that was rear wheel drive, and I had big snow tires, and I had the emergency get me unstuck plates and everything.
Yeah.
And I had chains and everything, and it just does not compare. It opens up an entire world. I'm just, God, I love that car so much. Well, everyone's been like, dude, you just got to sell it and get something else. And I'm like, you have no idea. I can't.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what's so weird about it is I've been with you through so many of the problems you've been having with it. Like that's basically the reason you've been at my house so much is a lot of the problems you have with it. And yet, even despite all those problems, now I'm still just thinking, I gotta get something like that.
Dude, it's worth every dollar.
Yeah, because I was looking into getting a second car just so that I have 4-wheel drive and something that gets unstuck. And now I feel like I've finally found the solution, I think.
Just do what I'm doing.
Just get something that's going to break my heart on a monthly basis.
Yeah, that's what you want. Well, it's funny because I was going down the same rabbit hole of I just need something to get me from A to B so that, you know, like if I'm just driving around town, I don't need to be driving my van, right? So at first I'm like, I'm going to be responsible and look at like 2008 Honda Civics, you know? So then I'm going down that, and then I'm like, well, they're not that cool. And then I'm like, if you're going to get a Honda Civic, you might as well get like a Toyota MR2. And then I'm looking at like cars from the 80s. I'm like, wait a second, this is the exact same
this
problem.
Feels familiar.
Yeah, which I might have actually said that on the last time we recorded, but yeah. Wait, I just need to grow up and no, I don't. You know what? I'm gonna be a kid forever, and I'm never gonna sell this van. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited about that prospect. Now that I've said it out loud, I'm probably not gonna do it, but you know, it's fun to dream about.
Yeah. Well,
and also since I owned Subarus so much before my van, I'm familiar with the Subaru motor, so I feel like I have at least slightly a leg up to do a VW Subaru thing.
Yeah. I saw one the other day and I was kind of like, I don't know. They're really cool. The Synchros are really cool. They just look really cool too.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Anyway, cars are cool. Mine's not.
Pancakes is broken.
Yeah.
But.
So am I.
Your soul is broken.
I just need a break. Actually, there are some. I feel like I want to save this because it could turn into a really good story or it could turn into nothing. But there are some really funny developments that have to do with my luck that I just sort of have to wait for the resolution before I bring up. But hang on till next week because it could get it could get really interesting here.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm invested now. I'm curious. Did you just get back from snurfing or flying in a Cessna or something, or is it just cold in your house?
It's just cold in my house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing fun to report on. I can only walk like a mile perimeter around my house because I don't have any way to get anywhere else.
Right. Damn, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of only being able to go a mile perimeter around your house, remember being locked down? That was crazy, huh?
Yeah. I do remember it. It was crazy.
Yeah, I think what we're gonna talk about before Shafe had to leave suddenly is we're talking about the weird feeling of nostalgia. I don't know about you, but it happens to me pretty frequently where random things from 2020 will pop into my brain and just different memories pop into my head. And there's such a weird nostalgia attached to it that I can really only compare to, well, I guess I can't compare it to anything, but I just haven't felt nostalgia for something like that in a while.
Yeah, well, this came up because there's a YouTube channel called Pinely who made a video called the Nostalgification of 2020. And it was really interesting because I don't really know if maybe I felt like he made the point he was trying to make well enough, but essentially he was pointing out the fact that there's kind of a TikTok trend going around right now, which is essentially looking back in retrospect on 2020 and thinking like, you know, like 2020 was such a vibe, whatever. And part of his argument was it's not the best to basically look back on 2020 as like this weird nostalgic almost. I don't want to use the word. It was just surreal, And he's like, well, you can't glorify it because everyone was dying, which is true, and you know what I mean. But I don't know. The conversation kind of arose like, how do you and how should you look back on 2020? Because it's just like this microcosm of time that doesn't exist but completely existed. And it's I think as far as art is concerned too, it was the birth of NFTs really, or at least when they started really popping off.
Oh yeah.
It was just like so many things it was just weird. And I don't really what do you I don't know.
Like there's a bunch of different paths I wanted to go down, but I did want to ask you about art in particular in 2020, since you mentioned NFTs. But yeah, I guess first of all, just in relation to Pineley's video, I just watched it. I hadn't seen it, but I just watched it, and I think it's almost like there's no point in having to remind ourselves like, oh yeah, a lot of bad happened, so I can't just pretend it was all good. Like we all know that internally. It was, it was traumatic for everybody on different levels, obviously, but everyone had some sense of trauma because of the lockdowns and because of 2020. So we all just kind of subconsciously recognize, yes, it was traumatic. We know it sucked. So therefore, let's try to just remember these weird, small, good things. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things of humanity is we're endlessly optimistic. Like I don't care how negative we think we are or can be. We're so optimistic, and we're like little ant colonies. Like when something goes wrong, we just instantly are back to work and like doing whatever we can to fix it. So I think it's beautiful that we find just small little nuggets of a tragic time like 2020, but can still say like, oh yeah, Tiger King, that was funny, huh?
Yeah, it was just weird because I totally understand the sentiment of like you can't romanticize it because it was a really dark time, but at the same exact time there were so many silver linings that came out of it, which I feel like are worth pointing out. Like on one hand, someone in the comments of that video said it was like the one time they've been alive where they just felt like everyone was on the same page for at least a second, For a little bit, everyone was just like kind of working together to some extent.
For at least 2 weeks before it all devolved.
And for me, it was a real interesting window into what I value because a ton of opportunities had been taken away just, for me, just like everyone.
Yeah.
But I also was basically couch hopping because at the time I don't know, circumstantially, I didn't have anywhere to live. So I was like crashing with friends and I had literally zero money. Like I went through all of quarantine on a credit card, which was a real experience. And there are so many points throughout that experience that I felt like I was having more fun and I was more happy despite everything than I have been in a long time, or maybe even since, which is just like, I don't know whether to call that like, I mean, that could be an internal thing I need to like check out or something. But all I'm saying is I was close to people I really cared about. And I really had a good time spending time with. Everything was like really put in perspective. Like all the problems that felt like big problems weren't big problems anymore because everyone's family members were all of a sudden dying. It was like the real problems became very obvious and the not real problems just kind of shrank away. And also, even though I was going into debt at the time, it was like I had so much motivation to be like, okay, once this is all over, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And then by the time quarantine ended, it was like I was like on X Games mode, checking all these boxes and whatever. Yeah. Like basically immediately was able to get out of that debt and everything. And I was just like, there's so much pent up energy that just felt like this creative renaissance for me that to this day has ripple effects and has changed me for the better. But it's also weird to look back on in retrospect because it was dark and bad.
Yeah.
But it was also good.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like,
so there you go. I said nothing, essentially. It was good, but it was kind of bad.
no, wait a second. Did you just take...
No.
Is that a bottle of Prime with
No,
gaff
dude.
tape over it? No way. This man is the biggest hater of Logan Paul of all time.
I had to know.
You're drinking
I
Prime?
had to know.
No way. Is it good?
Dude, it's so delicious. Well, it's a quick sidebar. Mm-hmm. For a while in like Europe, they were selling bottles for like $100 each because there was like, I don't know, just a ton of hype. And
Yeah.
there were a bunch of videos of people trying it and going, this stuff is amazing. And then there were other people going, this stuff is garbage. And I had to know. Okay.
How many did you buy? And what flavors did you buy? Did you buy all of them?
I bought the city market in Gunnison only has 12 bags of fruit punch. Dude, it's
so you bought a 12 pack of fruit punch.
well, we had a grill out burger night, and yeah,
Did you get just fruit punch? Did you get other flavors too?
they only had fruit punch,
Oh, okay.
which is usually not a flavor I really like. But
Yeah.
you know what it tastes like? It tastes like a toned down Kool-Aid. It's like Kool-Aid, but a little less sugary.
I can't believe you gaff taped over the logo. Dude, you're just gonna move on from Pedialyte. This man has an addiction to Pedialyte, but
I
now
had
you're gonna
to
move
know,
on and just
dude.
be Prime.
Tell
hype
me you're
boy.
not curious what it tastes like.
Next you're gonna be making hype videos about trying to meet KSI by buying up your entire town's stock of Prime.
No, dude. If I bought up the whole stock, I would only buy 3 cases because that was all that was there when I got there. Tell me you're not curious.
Okay. Here's the thing. There's a small chance that anytime I've known you're coming to my house, I might have had to empty my recycling because there were empty Prime bottles.
Really?
Yeah.
You emptied it because you knew I was coming.
Yeah, because I had the same feeling as you of like, I have to try this.
Yeah.
It has that. It's so annoying that the human condition is like this, but when something is limited in supply and very hyped up, it just creates
Dude,
something
I
in you that's
had
like,
to know.
yeah. So that's how it started. It started when I would be at the grocery store and just think, I'm just gonna see if it's there because I know it's out of stock everywhere. And the first 4 or 5 times that I had that thought, it was never there. So by like the 6th time when I saw it at my grocery store, it made this thing in my head that was like, oh, I can't believe it's here. I gotta get it.
Dude, this actually transitions really easily back into 2020 because that's exactly how toilet paper was. I've never cared
Yeah.
about buying bulk loads of toilet paper, and then all of a sudden you would see it on a shelf, you'd be like, oh my God, like, I gotta call my parents and tell them I found it. It's like I could buy 3 24 packs right now.
Exactly. Yeah. As soon as it becomes scarce, it just flips this switch where you're like, I gotta get it. But speaking of the toilet paper thing, I thought I learned my lesson because now there's a sriracha shortage currently. And sriracha is my favorite condiment of all time. I put it on everything. I eat it like ketchup. I go through it so fast. There's a sriracha shortage. And when I first heard about it, I was like, oh no, that sucks. I couldn't find it at my grocery store. So I went to World Market. I found a bunch of bottles of it, but I remembered the toilet paper shortage, and I said to myself, I'm going to be a responsible human being. I'm not going to buy a bunch of these because other people need sriracha too. And I'm not going to be selfish and hoard them. So I bought one small
I hate to
bottle
interrupt,
of
but
sriracha.
nobody needs sriracha.
Dude, what? Are you kidding me? That's
Need
why
and
there's
want.
a shortage.
Yeah, there's a huge difference.
Okay. I got you. Okay, fair enough. I wanted to allow other people to also have sriracha because they wanted it. But the point is, I only bought that one tiny bottle, and now it's been months at this point that I haven't been able to find real sriracha anywhere. I've had to buy off-brand Ox sriracha, and it tastes like actual trash.
Dang.
But now I ordered some sriracha on Amazon, so we're good.
Oh, thank God. I was worried it wasn't going to have a happy ending. And that's coming from the guy that bought an X100F. Off-brand Jake.
I was just hop on the hype trains.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. Yeah, you're the problem, not me.
Yeah. But yeah, I hate to say it, and I can't believe I'm just falling in line with every other internet person, but Prime is really delicious.
It's so tasty.
It's like
It's so
so
tasty.
now I get bottles every once in a while just because it tastes good, and I feel dirty every time I buy it. But
I know. It
It's
could have been
really
anyone
tasty.
else, dude. Anyone else was the spokesperson. It would have just been the best.
I know. And I'm such a sucker for a good redemption arc. Like, so I was starting to get on board with Logan Paul because to me,
Oh, I know.
he had-
we would be traveling together, and you would put on Impulsive, and I'd be like, okay.
Oh, why you gotta out me like that? As he takes a sip of Prime.
Sell out. I taped the label, dude. I'm good.
Yeah. Well, it obviously didn't work because I knew right away what you were drinking. But yeah, it's a bummer because a good redemption arc is just so sick, and for him to go from the most epic cancellation of all time. Not epic. Epic is a terrible word to describe that. The most infamous.
Tragic.
The most
Yeah.
tragic. Just the most talked about cancellation of all time. To go from that to seeming like he actually was on a self-reflective arc was really cool. I didn't agree with a lot of I still didn't seem like I'd be homies with him, but just watching his redemption arc seemed really cool. And then we had this crypto zoo thing, and now it's like maybe he's not actually that self-reflective. Maybe he's just still cares about views and money, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, for anyone that doesn't know about CryptoZoo, it was basically just a massive cryptocurrency scam where he scammed millions of dollars out of his own fans. And how do you feel about him now? Because he's apologized and all that.
Yeah. I still feel like he thinks I don't think he's trying to be a scammer, and I don't think he's trying to hurt people or rob people. But I do think that he is so focused on his business or whatever you want to call it, his online face, that he doesn't think about people at all. Because obviously at the time he started CryptoZoo, everyone was making NFT projects. He's certainly not alone in this gross scamming of people. So I'm sure there was an element of groupthink where he just thought, this is what everyone's doing. They're all making a ton of money. Everyone meaning rich celebrities. But I don't think he did it with the intention of, I'm going to scam people. So I guess what I'm saying is I still think he's just kind of like meh. Like, yeah, it sucks. He's like a rich dude that's not really thinking about people. He's just thinking about his own empire and his own greed.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing is though he did scam people, and the other thing is CoffeeZilla just went on Joe Rogan, which was crazy, but he's followed up with Logan because he said he was going to pay everyone back. He hasn't paid anything back still.
Really?
Yes,
Man.
he's ghosted the Discord again. So, and you know, I get what you're saying, but imagine it was me. It's like take all the fame and whatever away. Imagine you knew me as I built this whole empire, stole millions of dollars from people, and then busted out of it. And you're just watching like whether my intentions were good or bad, you got to be looking at me as my friend and just being like, dude, you're in some deep. And for him, even now, it's just like as long as you ignore it, it doesn't exist. So I think he's a scumbag, and I would never support anything he does.
You got to just rip the label off at this point. No, you're spot on, but that's the difference is I care about you and I love you, and I would absolutely just be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But for
you
him,
love Logan Paul too. It's not just me.
I love Logan Paul. No, I don't know. For him, it's just like, yep, okay. I've seen this play out with countless rich people at the top. Like the greed is just, I don't know. I just feel indifferent to it because you just see it everywhere. And he happens to be very front facing. So we see his greed, but man, that greed is just so widespread. I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, that's how 2020 relates to Logan Paul's crypto scam.
Yeah. Was there... What? No, I don't know. I don't remember what he was doing in 2020, but it doesn't matter. I'm sick of talking about Logan Paul. I don't like Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Wow, I was not expecting to talk about him.
I wasn't either. That was
on this podcast.
Shocking.
Yeah, I think to maybe to cap off that thought.
Which
I
one?
do think just the Logan Paul and where I where I sit with him. It is so strange to I guess reconcile. It's so strange to reconcile someone's content or someone's art and the impact it's had on your life with the person. Perfect example, Kanye West. It's really difficult to reconcile music that is interwoven into your life. It's attached to memories in your life. It makes you feel a certain way. It's like very, very personal. And then have the person behind that art just do something so horrible that it's difficult to reconcile. So I guess that's all I'm saying.
What an incredibly difficult and consistently relevant problem that is. Because as much as I hate it, it's like it's going to keep coming up, you know? People are people, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. People are people.
And that's the way it's always been.
No, totally. But especially as to be an artist of any form, you almost have to just share yourself now. Maybe you don't have to, but it sure feels like the main model that works these days is you got to share your life and yourself, and you're going to be public facing, and inevitably you're going to mess up, and then it taints your art in some way or another, or
It's
changes how people see your art.
It's just so interesting. Something about that level of eyes on you has got to do something to your brain, because how many friends I have where just randomly one day I'll find out they're anti-Semitic? None. However many friends I have where just one day all of a sudden they're doing internet scams. Not a single one of them.
Man,
it's weird how Kanye West can be Kanye West this entire time. And I mean, mental illness has a huge part to play in this, I think. But also, yeah, I mean, at some point it's just crazy to me that Kanye West can be Kanye West all of this time, and then one day it's like, I don't like Jewish people. It's like, what?
Yeah. And
none of my friends have these big character shifts, you know?
Right. Yeah. It has to be. I mean, yeah, just being in that world, especially the Kanye West world, where you're in such such a different world than the rest of the world is living in, as far as who you associate with day to day and what your life looks like. Yeah, that's gotta mess with the human brain. Well, it clearly does. We've seen it time and time again with fame, but
yeah, I'm just glad that that's not a normal thing. You know what I mean? Where just all of a sudden you find out
I know.
the guy you play pickup football with was like, I don't know, fill in the blank.
Yeah, seriously.
The guy you play pickup football with.
Either that or you're just good at picking friends, you know? Maybe
that's true.
Maybe you just have a good read on people.
But I like to think that I was good at picking, like artists to support too, and they'll prove you wrong. But anyway, there's no real period at the end of that sentence other than it's just a bummer,
Yeah, it is a bummer. But for you in 2020, did creating stuff feel different? Because for me, it kind of feels like a switch flipped for me. And that's one of the things I do feel nostalgic for, is I just felt like I had a creative machine just running in my brain. Like, do you ever
for sure, definitely. In fact, that's probably the thing I'm most nostalgic about. And you'd be sitting in your house having all these ideas, and the fact you couldn't do it would just make it like double down on the fact that's like, when I'm out of here, I'm gonna,
Oh, yeah, interesting.
And then even in quarantine, it was like, even at the house, I filmed so much stuff at the house.
Yeah, that's the part of it for me that kind of stands out. I'm sure I did have the thought of, once lockdown's done, I want to make all these things, but I was really aware of the fact that there were so many constraints, like just by the fact that so many of your options were limited, that made it so much easier to make stuff. Cause it was like, well, I either have to make a video in my van, or I have to go on this hike that's near my house, And so with that very limited set of options, it just freed me up so much to find different ways to create within that. Like, I miss that, because now it just feels like an endless world of opportunities, and that paralyzes me a lot of the time.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely, dude. It was also kind of cool because where I was there, it wasn't a very big town, and the whole hospital situation was ultimately pretty chill there. So they were letting people go mountain biking, which at that point I didn't mountain bike, but I bought a bike. Shouldn't have done that. I bought a bike, and then everyone that I was staying with was all into mountain biking too. So every day, I was also still drinking then. So you'd like wake up, drink a pina colada, go ride your bike all day, come home, film sunset, drink a bunch of beer, and then go to bed, and then just do it over and over and over again. It was like, I mean, it's so weird to say because contextually it was such a dark time. But if you take all of that darkness out of the picture, I think heaven's going to be pretty darn close to exactly what we did in quarantine.
Yeah, didn't you even build a tiki bar in your backyard?
Yes, we did. Yeah, we picked up a bunch of old pallets and built this full on outside tiki bar, which is hilarious because no one can come over and use it. It's just us at the house.
Yeah,
you just go make pina coladas in the sunshine. It was so awesome. Oh
man,
it was such a fun time. I feel so weird saying that, but
yeah,
even though I was in debt, it was like there's nothing you could do about it. So it was just like, money doesn't matter, not being drunk doesn't matter. You could just order margaritas from Applebee's, and they just
oh yeah, I forgot about the to-go alcohol. Yeah,
it was a dream.
I know. Yeah, my rendition was less fun because I was in my van in my parents' driveway, and it was awesome getting time with my parents, but I was so worried about them.
Yeah.
That I don't know. I definitely did not have as much fun because I wasn't with friends or anything. It was just me in my van in my parents' driveway, but I still miss that creativity aspect of it.
Yeah, it was a pretty special time in that sense.
Yeah.
With the qualifier that everyone died.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, unless you got any other thoughts on 2020 nostalgia, I got an alternate path.
Oh yeah, take me down your alternate path.
All right. Well, now that travel's open back up, obviously.
Yeah. Like a year and a half ago, but yeah.
I'm gonna quit trying to do smooth transitions because they don't go well. But I just got back from Hawaii. I was visiting a buddy out there, and I realized how many pet peeves I have about airplane travel.
Oh.
But mostly, have
Not
you
enough
heard
peanuts.
about peanuts?
Not enough peanuts. Never enough.
Oh, whoa! I forgot peanuts don't exist anymore.
Well, oh yeah. Anyway. Sorry. I was just
'Cause
trying to think
peanuts-
of my personal pet peeves. Not enough
okay,
peanuts
okay.
is top of the list.
Oh, okay. Well, good, because I want to hear your airplane pet peeves.
Okay.
But the reason that I even started thinking about this was I grew up flying and never once considered or I never thought twice about reclining my seat, right? It was never a big deal. I'd always recline my seat, no problem. And my mom was a flight attendant, so I'd fly with her and she'd be like, yeah, you can recline your seat, and the person behind you, they can recline their seat. So if everyone reclines, it's fine. So it wasn't until, I don't know, a year or two ago that I realized this is a massive debate, and some people think it's really messed up and borderline unethical to recline your seat. And there's videos of people getting in fights over it. There's literally a device that is sold so that you can clamp on to the seat in front of you so that the person can't recline their seat.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it from what I've heard, it when you buy that device, it comes with a note card that says, I've installed this thing on your seat just so you're aware, and you're supposed to give the note card to the person in front
You're
of you.
joking.
So the point is, I didn't realize there was this whole debate behind reclining your airplane seat until recently. And now it drives me nuts now anytime I fly because I can't help but think about that debate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang, okay.
Did you know that was a thing?
I think the little voice in my head tells me that it might not be the most polite thing sometimes.
Uh-huh.
But I think I know where I stand on this.
Where do you stand?
It's a free country.
Yeah. In a privately owned airplane.
Especially when you're flying internationally. It's an American plane, dude. I have diplomatic immunity until my foot crosses onto the...
What about when we fly Lufthansa, dude? Then it's a German plane.
Yeah, I know, but where did they get airplanes from?
Boeing.
Where did Boeing get airplanes from?
America.
That's right. Guess who invented America? The Wright brothers. I bet you anything the Wright Flyer had a reclining seat. I bet you
the Wright brothers.
I bet you my left nut that they were riding one behind the other, and they say, "Here we're doing it. We're the first ones flying. I'm gonna sit back and crack a cold one."
The Wright brothers invented lay down airplane seating, and ever since we've just been slowly stripped of our rights.
I know.
Slowly forced to sit upright in smaller and smaller spaces.
Well, welcome to Biden's America, dude.
Thanks, Obama.
Thanks, Obama. No, I think if they didn't want you to do it, then they wouldn't have the capability. I don't feel like the airlines. Yeah. I don't think big plane. I gotta back off. Let me reset. I think it has a lot to do with how long the flight is too. Like if I'm on a 8-hour flight, I'm gonna recline my seat. Sorry.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
If I'm on a 3-hour flight, I don't feel like I'll really need to do that. I can wait 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know, like this podcast, I'll have sat in this chair without reclining for 1 hour. I'll be fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it has a lot to do with that. Like, how long are you on the plane?
Yeah. Well, and the chair you're sitting in now is probably built with a reasonable level of comfort. And that's where my stance comes in is airplane seats at their full vertical are not built for comfort. They're built so that the rows are movable and accessible so that everyone can get out and get to the exit. That's why you have to have your seat upright at takeoff and landing, is in case something bad happens and everyone has to evacuate the plane. But then,
which is hilarious because they give you 1 foot of room.
Yeah, I know. Seriously,
like if you recline your seat 6 inches, you shouldn't be pinched in.
Yeah,
but that's totally how it is.
Yeah, all this safety stuff is totally just to make you think you'll be okay in a crash.
Exactly.
But if a crash happens, you're
oh
done.
Yeah, dude, you're falling 30,000 feet out of the air. It's like, oh, his seat was back.
Yeah,
he's dead.
No, dude, he died because the person next to him's phone charger was plugged into the outlet. That's why he died.
He died doing what he loved, watching an angled back airline movie.
Yeah. But yeah, my point is, I feel like if the airplane was designed for comfort, all of the seats would be leaned back in the first place anyway. So once you get in the air, everyone just recline your seat. Everyone's going to be more comfortable. Everyone's going to be happy. So yeah, I'm with you, man. I think
people who get mad at people for reclining their airline seats have the same energy as people who yell at traffic because they have somewhere to be. You know what I mean? It's like, we're all in this together, dude. We all have somewhere to be.
You're in traffic and you are traffic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't separate yourself from the fact that, you know, if you didn't have that ethical dilemma, you sure as hell would lean your seat back. You know, we're all in this together. Yeah. And you know, it's like you also have the option. If someone leans their seat back, it's not like you're helpless. You can lean your seat back.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's silly.
And that's where the dilemma continues for me is on my flight from Hawaii, I had the exit row infinite legroom seat at the window. So it's basically the best seat in economy. You got the window seat, but you got no seats in front of you, so you can get up at any time.
Yeah.
So here I was on the flight like, man, this is great. I got a window. I got all this legroom. And then as soon as I thought of leaning my seat back, I was like, oh, man, that's not fair. I have so much legroom and a nice window seat. I shouldn't recline my seat and make the person behind me uncomfortable. And I felt so conflicted about it. And I finally reclined like halfway. I didn't go full recline. I just reclined a couple inches.
Don't tell me you got called out.
No, thankfully
you got
not.
it. Oh, you got through it.
But I did have one of those shared window shades where I didn't have my own window. My window was kind of right where my seat back was.
Yeah.
And the lady behind me shut the window.
Oh,
and
no.
It really bummed me out because my favorite thing in the world is looking out an airplane window. Yeah. And I didn't have a window. And I wasn't going to just open it back up after she shut it because then I definitely would have gotten into a fight.
Yeah. Airplanes, man. Can't live with them. What
are your pet peeves?
I think the biggest thing is just I don't like long flights and I don't really like movies all that much. So they're just boring. They're just so boring. I mean, I'm not alone in that, but my biggest pet peeve every time I get on a plane is like when I get off, I'm going to have a headache because I'm going to be dehydrated because I don't want to drink too much water because I'll have to pee every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have a headache. I'm not going to have anything to do because I don't want to watch. I don't want to watch 4 movies. I don't want to watch one movie. So most of the time I'll either read, which is nice, but again, you can't do that for 8 hours. So I'll either read or I'll just kind of just sit there and be like,
yeah, dude, you are unlike anyone I've ever traveled with where everyone else I know has to have something to do, and Shafe will just sit there and stare into nothing for hours.
True,
and hours.
Dude. It's true.
Not even sleeping, just wide awake, just staring.
Yeah, just kind of like, dude. do 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 do, and then it's really funny because then I'll get in a car, like a passenger seat of a car, and I will pass out.
Yeah.
Even if it's midday, it could be 12:30 p.m. on a Friday afternoon, and if I'm in a passenger seat and someone else is driving, I'll fall asleep 100%. I don't know why, but planes, I can't sleep on planes. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really like planes that much. Curse the Wright brothers.
Man, for some reason, I still don't mind them. I love having this window where you can't really get much done because you don't have internet. So you just get to waste your time watching movies and playing games on your phone and listening to podcasts. It's the best.
Yeah, I understand the appeal. I just, I don't like it. None for me,
Fair
thanks.
enough.
And not enough peanuts, dude.
Man, I kind of forgot that that's a thing until you said that.
Well,
You used
I
to
just
always
hate
get
that. I
peanuts.
just hate that. Like, how much does it cost to give everyone the little cracker? You know what I mean? Like the stupid cracker. I bet you max, because they're probably buying that nonsense wholesale. I bet you it costs them, whatever, like $100 to give everyone on the plane one of those little crackers, and it's 8 hours.
Well, that's not why they don't do peanuts. They don't do peanuts because of peanut allergies.
No, I know.
Oh.
I'm just saying I could really use another cracker.
Oh. Dude.
They're like, do you
life
want
hack.
a snack? I'm like, that's not a snack. That's barely that's a snackette.
Yeah. Yeah, like 4 pretzels.
Yeah.
But, dude, if you're nice to a flight attendant because they get treated like absolute shit for most of their time, if you're nice to a flight attendant, I'll bet they give you as many pretzels as you want.
Teacher's pet over here.
Oh, man. Speaking of 2020 nostalgia, that is something that you and I experienced that very few people got to experience.
Oh my gosh, no kidding.
Like in 2020, towards the end of 2020, Shaffer and I were doing video work for the Mountain Bike World Cup, and we essentially got special exception to travel for this race. Somehow we were considered essential for the race to get media coverage of it. But anyway, the point is, we were flying all over Europe and all over, I guess it was just Europe at that time. But we would be on massive planes with like eight people.
Yeah.
And
You could pick any seat you wanted. You could lay down in a whole
have
row.
A whole row. You would just chat with the flight attendants, and like I remember we were filming out the windows and just had this conversation with the flight attendants about what we were doing, and the flight attendant would be like, "Oh, come to this window. Like look at this view. The sun's coming up over here." And it was so fun.
It was so fun.
It like that I miss for sure.
Dude, it definitely puts it back, especially because that was my first experience with international travel, was just having an entire plane to yourself, making friends with the flight attendants, like just the ultimate chill experience. It was such culture shock to go from that to real international travel, which is like, they're like, this way, Saudi, yeah, you're just like,
Getting
you're
your
just like
skateboard
livestock.
confiscated.
Yeah. That was and then I also remember like showing up to check in, and they would just be like, you can't get on that plane, and we'd be like, and then we pull out our like government issued permission slips and be like, hey, yes, we can.
Yeah, dude.
Just like kids with skateboards. It was so weird.
TSA would be playing games on their phones, just waiting for someone to come through security, and you'd come and they'd be like, oh, we got someone.
Yeah.
Come on through.
No, it was it was a ride. It was like nothing I've ever experienced. And since then, it's just kind of ruined it for me because that was so fun.
Yeah, I know. And
I mean, it's still fun. I mean, international travel's fun no matter what, but the flights aren't nearly as good when it's like a summer camp cabin and you can just do whatever you want.
We got so spoiled. Traveling felt so, like once you're on the plane or at the airport, it felt so easy because there's just no people.
Yeah.
But
getting to the plane was a process though.
Yeah.
There'd be so many people that didn't want you to fly. obviously.
Seriously, the amount of documents you had to show and make sure you had everything together, and at the same time, none of the employees on the other end having any clue what's allowed and what's not made it so
dude,
hectic.
and then there was that one time when we were in Germany, I lost my COVID vaccine card.
Yeah. Dude,
I found a picture of it on my phone, luckily.
Yeah. I guess my last nostalgic memory too is I have such a nostalgic view of Portugal in particular, because
Yeah.
Portugal is the last place we were at after all of this travel during lockdowns. And Shaffer and I just spent a week at the very end of the trip, just for fun, in Peniche, Portugal. And it felt like we were the last people on earth.
It was so cool. There's no one there.
Yeah.
And then we were at Nazaré like the day after the world's biggest wave was recorded, and there was nobody there.
Yeah, nobody there with bigger waves than I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
And then we would go to the same Indian restaurant that we were eating at every day, and the guy at the Indian restaurant was just like,
What are
you
doing
guys
here?
doing here?
Yeah.
You need to go home. Stuff's about to get bad.
Yeah, I feel like Portugal could be. I feel like we could do a whole podcast recounting Portugal because
Yeah,
it was just so awesome. But I hate to say it, my camera's at 4% right now.
That's okay, because we've exhausted what's in my notes.
Wow.
Oh, and I forgot we had an intro story to this anyway. So
Oh yeah, right. True.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
Do you want to plug anything at the outro of this podcast? Maybe like, I don't know, take another sip so you can get more royalty payments.
That'd be
from
good.
Logan
That'd
Paul.
be good. Yeah, and then just.
Dude,
Power up.
Side note, real quick, you gotta try a flavor other than tropical punch or whatever.
Oh,
it is.
just
tropical punch
based
was my
on
least favorite.
Just based on how much I like this, I'm sure
It's
like the
messed
blue
up.
one or the green one is like.
The blue one and the ice pop flavor, the one that tastes like it's like the red, white, and blue popsicle flavor.
Yeah.
My God, it's messed up how good it is.
I'm not gonna try it. Wink.
Yeah.
The only other thing I want to say is leave a comment for the love of God. I always get so happy when someone leaves a comment because I'm like, oh, good. It's not an echo chamber of. It's not an empty void.
Yeah, and maybe tell a friend too, because Shaffer and I suck at promoting this podcast. So
I know.
if you want to tell a pal. Oh, speaking of which, sorry, you're probably running out of battery. Turns out, you know Jeff Whittick, Jeff FM, Jeff?
Yeah.
He is starting a podcast with Tana Mojo,
Oh, yeah.
and it's called Friends with Benefits. So as if our SEO wasn't already bad enough, now we're going to have one of the top podcasts ever called Friends with Benefits. And here we are called Friends with Benedicts. We're hosed, man.
We might need a rebrand.
Yeah, we might.
Comment a
Already
new
didn't
name
make
for
sense.
the podcast.
Yeah, because they're just going to bury us.
It's too bad I don't drink. I found that, I mean, it's a story for another time, but I found this amazing thing that was just like, it was a Pinewood Derby race, and someone made a car, and the car's name was Sacred Lady of the Open Container. And I was like, what an epic name.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Was it designed like a ship?
No, it was a church.
Oh, it sounds
Yeah,
like
it
a
was
ship
cool.
name.
Yeah, it
That's
does.
awesome.
Anyway, guess next episode we'll come up with a new name.
Yeah. Sick. Well, hopefully next episode, well, it won't be next episode, but hopefully eventually we get another in-person episode, because
Yeah.
I'm holding your van hostage until then.
I know it'll be Sunday, except I'm not convinced that all the parts I ordered are going to fix the problem I have. So we'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah,
Anyway,
we'll see.
I'm at
Sweet.
1%. So
All right. Well, adios.
adios.
Wow.
Thanks for everything.
Amen.
Amen.
Bye.